Hi guys, it's Foye, but you can call me Foye.
Hey, this is Lola, but you can call me Lola if you like. And this is the Everybody Hates HR podcast, episode 16.
Yay! 16.
I'm not used to doing that.
I was thinking.
I think it's episode 16.
It is episode 16. Do you not feel though like now I feel like once we got to 10, it's been a slow burner.
Like you feel like we should have done more.
Yeah.
Yeah, 16 feels like, I feel like we've done like 25 episodes.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm like, wow, it's only 16.
And also, I don't really pay attention because that's Velisa's job.
Yeah, I know. But she's not here today.
We don't have Velisa.
We don't.
But we're going to try and make it work with just the two of us.
Yeah, and she'll be back
Next week, yeah. So, girl, what have you been doing?
What have I been doing? Apart from dying from the heat, not much. I'm not even joking. The heat is so unbearable. Like, I literally don't want to move. I literally just want to stay in one place, blinds down, fan on, ice poles, and not move.
Yeah, we like Monday and Tuesday, I was just home. Like, I didn't. So today's Wednesday, guys. But we're over the worst of it now.
Yeah.
But I just refused to go out.
Yeah.
We were actually supposed to record on Monday, and then when it turned out we couldn't record on Monday, I was actually happy.
Me too.
Yeah, because I thought I was gonna go shopping. I thought I'll just do a quick, because I live next to a Lidl. Shout out Lidl. And I thought let me just quickly go get the bits that I need to get, do my food shop on Monday. No, absolutely not. Mm-mm. I walked about 5 meters outside. Not even 5. As soon as I opened the door, I literally felt like this is hotter than hell.
It was terrible.
And I just went to the corner shop. I got a Magnum and I went home. And that was enough. And I was tired when I got in from that.
No, I know. Even my dog literally was just, she refused to come inside, and it was so frustrating because you know how you hear like heat stroke
Yeah,
for
dogs.
dogs.
Yeah.
And she's outside. She's like,
in the shade there.
In the shed, but it's still hot.
Yeah, it's shady.
Yeah, it is shady.
They love it though.
You put water out, it warms up in like 30 minutes, and she's just like breathing so heavy. We've had to get her like a cooling mat and like ice poles and ice cream, but she's enjoying it. But I'm just like, you're old,
you need to
slow down. But the heat it's a lot. It's a lot.
I was like, we didn't have a fan, and then I was like, I just hate when you have the fan that blows around hot air.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're not getting the fan, we don't need the fan. And then my boyfriend was like, I'm not doing this anymore. He was off on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then he bought a fan, and I was wrong.
You saw the difference.
No, it changed my life.
Yeah. I don't know how you had no fan in that heat.
I didn't even know I was like sweating. So like, on Tuesday, so yesterday, we had his niece and nephew. For a couple of hours. I was working, but he was doing up daddy daycare, and I didn't know this sounds dumb, but I didn't know kids can sweat.
Wait, Lola.
I've never seen kids sweat.
Are they not human?
Have you ever seen children sweating?
On their nose, on their forehead.
I've never seen a child sweat.
In their little creases of their fat rolls.
Oh no! I've never seen it, and we had to actually put them in the bedroom because they were in the living room, and it was like the hottest room in the flat. And both of them were sweating. One is like 8 months old, and the other one or something, and 7 months old, and the other one's like 18 or 19 months old, and both of them were just sweating. Like, as in, when I picked them up from sleeping, there was like a little wet patch.
I'm not surprised.
I'm sorry. I just didn't think it's.
Wow.
I thought you start sweating when you get to like adolescence.
What age?
Adolescence. That's when you start stinking, isn't it?
That is so funny. Wow, I'm glad you learned that one early.
I'm sure I never used to sweat when I was younger.
I'm sure you did.
Do you remember sweating?
No, of course I don't remember.
But I learned something anyway.
Yeah.
I learned something.
I'm glad you learned that now.
Yeah, no. Yeah. That was probably the most interesting thing that I've done over the last
week. Though.
But Friday I'm graduating.
Yeah,
excited. I've been
like masters.
Yeah, I've been having a bit of a dilemma about what to do with my hair. Mm-hmm. So in my undergrad picture, I have like straight hair because obviously that was what I was doing at the time, all the rage. I had this like weave. I remember I was talking about that weave for like 3 years. And I got it in and I felt so good. I was like, maybe I like, because I'm more like, now my hair's natural. And I was like, what should I do? So I'm
Did you used to perm your hair?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. But now, I haven't relaxed it now since like 2012.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like 10 years I've relaxed my hair.
I stopped in college. I only started like in college.
Oh really? So you started...
I relaxed my hair. I think I only relaxed for about 2 or 3 years.
So I probably like,
natural.
I think I was probably like 14 or 13 or something. But yeah, so I was thinking, what would I do? But I've got this wig, so a curly wig. So I was like, I might just do that, have a bit of like leave out. I told you about my situation with wigs because I have no forehead, so
you have told me before.
It's not something that I can do, but I'm really excited about that. Family's coming. It's in the Royal Festival Hall, South Bank. Yeah, I'm gonna get a picture. One of my brothers gonna come to my first graduation. He's coming.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. So I'll get new pictures to put up. Yeah. Cute. So that'll be a good thing to do. That's Friday, so it's in a couple of days. And then next week's my birthday.
Yeah.
And then it's August, and then I have to enjoy August, and then end of summer.
Yeah. End of summer.
So I feel like this year is just going so quickly.
Yeah, but why?
I don't know. I would like it to slow down actually.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. So I don't know. But at least the summer's, I mean, is a gift and a curse because we have a proper summer, but I'm pretty sure the polar ice caps have melted.
Because they said it broke the world record for the UK's hottest temperature recorded. So I think we now have 40.2 degrees or something, which is the highest recorded.
And we can't we can't continue like this because this country cannot function in hot weather or any sort of weather that's not mildly.
Do you know what was so funny is before this heat wave came, I saw it in the news. You know how they like prepping you like the UK is not ready for it, blah blah. I was just laughing. I was like, listen, there's guys in Africa that do this on the daily. They're like, oh, we're just not prepped. How are people gonna work? I'm like, people do this all the time. And then it comes and I'm like, save me.
Listen, we got wildfires like this is Australia.
In Dartford.
There's wildfires in Dartford. I was like, what is happening? Like we're not built for it. They said the firefighters had the busiest day since World War II.
No.
Yeah, I was like, it's just insane.
That's crazy.
And I don't know, moving on to like HR stuff, last week Velisa was just giving us an update on what the rules are around like working when it's really hot. And there are actually, if you guys listen, go back and listen to that episode, but basically there's no rules, there's no like maximum temperature before like your employer has to say you don't work anymore. It just has to be comfortable, and obviously that is very subjective. And if you have aircon in the office, they can say that's comfortable, but obviously if you have to get on the tube and fry like an egg to get into the office, then it's not comfortable. So but some of the unions, I think GMB, shout out you man, they've been lobbying that there should be a maximum temperature for some of their workers where they just cannot work anymore.
So I think there should be one. I get why there isn't one at the moment because the UK just hadn't in the past experienced that type of weather or this type of weather. But now knowing that this could be something that happens every so often because the ozone layer and the ice caps are melting, I do think it's something that the UK should consider. Definitely.
I don't think they can. I think important things, like really important, they can't be divulged to employers because some employers are responsible and some literally hate their employees.
It's so true. They'll be like, get into work, no, like come collapse to be like, what come?
I saw someone on LinkedIn saying employers, in case it wasn't obvious, don't be asking your pregnant workers to come in to commute into work in 40-degree heat. And I was like, obviously someone has done that. That was obviously indirect. Somebody told their pregnant worker or people that they with everybody except without fail needs to come in no matter if you're pregnant. You see, you will cook your baby. No, thank you.
It's so bad, and I just wish. Everyone's different, isn't it? Because sometimes you're just like, I would never do that.
Yeah.
But some people just feel they would oblige that they would go in, but you can't. If I'm pregnant and it's this 40.2 degrees weather, I'm not going into the office.
Listen, I'm not pregnant and I still didn't go in.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was just like, no. I actually texted my client on Sunday and I said, just to confirm, we're staying at home. And they were like, yeah, we're at home.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, excellent.
It'll be good to know though. Maybe we should do like a poll of how many people went in terms of because the employers told them to still go in, or how many worked from home.
Even if they tell people that they still have to come in, it's given either that you're always in all the time, or that people are asking that they want to stay home and you're saying no.
You're saying no, exactly. which is worse? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I would. What are they going to do? Give you disciplinary?
Watch when we see on the Daily Mail.
There will be some.
Someone who had a disciplinary
unauthorized absence or working from home without
failing
permission.
to come in on the day when it was hot.
There was one story in the news recently of someone who was dismissed for not coming to work because they had like anxiety around COVID, and they put in a claim for unfair dismissal when they dismissed it. So they said no, they said you should have gone to work because when the government said it's time to go back to work.
Yeah.
Time to go back to work.
Yeah. That's the thing though, isn't it? But even though I don't know.
I mean, when the government says it's time to go back to work, it doesn't, for me, in my opinion, is like all these times, know that, okay, it's time, it's lockdown, whatever. Time to go back to work doesn't mean it's safe. It means the economy is dying and we need money. We need productivity. Yeah.
And they're even saying, we know we're going to lose a few people, but it's cool.
For the greater good.
For the greater good, go back.
The needs of
literally.
Yeah, so people are like, it's actually still not safe. And I understand, like, I can empathise with those people because even now, it's still not really safe.
Not really.
We're just recharging COVID because we don't even have a competent government.
Do we have a government?
Just revisiting again, last week's episode, Kemi Badenoch, she's out of the running.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she got eliminated.
So how many people are left now?
3. Rishi Sunak,
of course,
and 2 ladies whose names I can't remember.
Okay.
But Rishi seems he got the most votes in the last round of in the last call. So yeah, so we're not going to have a black woman prime minister. Boo-hoo. So.
Yeah, I feel like it's only going to go one way, but seeing it.
I don't really mind who it is. I don't even care because I feel like
you just like as long as it's not Kemi.
As long as it's not a black woman, I'm cool with that. And I would like it to be. I would. Yeah, I don't mind if it's Rishi because I feel like he was because he was the chancellor. I think it's a good role to go from being the chancellor to being the prime minister, not because of the competence or anything, just because you have nobody to blame. And you were kind of part of the whole. Yeah, you were literally the chancellor. Yeah, exactly. So you should sort it out. Yeah. You were doing furlough with your briefcase. But he seemed. I mean, he wants to take that on. So. Yeah.
Maybe let's let him and see what happens.
Do you think the parents are proud of him?
Let him. But... Yeah.
They probably are, isn't it?
I think so.
Don't be telling them they're mentioning my son. Your son's a doctor. Prime Minister.
But see, I don't feel like that's a flex.
What, being a Prime Minister?
No.
That is a flex. Not the one that I would want. Where's the flex? Imagine the mums are doing battle and you're doctor, dentist, lawyer, banker, Prime Minister. But if you knew someone that was the Prime Minister, you'd be flexing about it. No, not me personally. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not a flex. Oh, it would be no. I think for some people it is. Not for us, because we are not for me. But for someone's mom, yeah. If you were the Prime Minister, who would your parents tell? Who wouldn't they tell? Fair. Is that just because African parents though? No, we'll be doing our photo shoot outside number 10. Would you want to do that? Probably. Yeah. We're having Patty at number 10. We're like, Mum, we can't have a party at number 10. Actually, you actually can. You probably can. Ask Boris Johnson. He'll tell you. So she'll be like, yeah, Patty. You will be showing up in Gele at number 10. That is so funny. No way. Imagine that. Mum will be flexing hard. Mum will be moving like Stormzy's mum. I do. Yeah, I hear it. Okay, I get it. But yeah. But yeah, so HR news wise.
HR news.
Any interesting stories you've seen?
So I have seen in the news that this lady who this was during the pandemic actually, so to bring it back, I think it was like November 2020, which was quite deep into the pandemic.
Yeah, I think we're about to go into lockdown 3 or something.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, do you remember that? And there was alerts, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, scary times. So this lady worked at Marks and Spencer's, I think it's in Leeds. She'd been there for about 5 years and is obviously minding her business at work, and somebody who comes into Marks and Spencer's is not wearing a mask. I think during these times it was recommended, or you couldn't go into a retail store without wearing a mask. So this person, don't know if it's a he or a she, but has walked into Marks and Spencer's, is not wearing a mask, and she's obviously felt very strongly and passionate about it to go and tell this person to put on a mask. I think
she confronted them.
Me personally, I probably wouldn't. It's not that deep, but everyone's different. This person then became aggressive, and I think there was some sort of confrontation verbally. I don't know how it ended, but it then led to her having some sort of anxiety and depression about the whole situation. So in the past, it seems like she has, been around an incident where there was an armed robbery, or she also has anxiety around COVID in general. So I think those it was a trigger, what happened for her, which led her to being sick and not signed off, I think, for a few months.
Yeah,
I think it was a few months. And essentially, long story short, from that day, she just couldn't come back to work. She just had, depression, anxiety, and essentially Marks and Spencer's let her go. And on
the grounds
of incapability. So they basically said that, we don't feel like there's any reasonable adjustment that we can give you that's going to make it okay for you
to come to work.
Exactly. It's kind of like all of her fears and triggers were at work. So how, unfortunately, it means you can't work here. And they basically dismissed her. She appealed it and lost the appeal. She then went to tribunal, and during tribunal, she actually won. Yes. So I don't know if you remember reading the case as well. Yeah. So it looks like during tribunal that they picked apart that there was a 25% chance that she would have been dismissed fairly, which is fine. But in terms of, I think it's the process around how she got dismissed, that they were picking apart, and for that reason, she is going to get some sort of monetary compensation. However, it will be reduced by 25%.
Because there's a chance that she would have been dismissed anyway.
Exactly.
That procedural fairness one is mad because, like, when they do that thing, they're saying, okay, cool, the outcome that you came to is not incorrect, but how you went about it is wrong.
Yeah. Which happens.
It happens. That's why you have to be proper, like, on job with your investigation, with your notes, with actually speaking to occupational health, trying to get your reasonable adjustments, trying to figure out what is actually reasonable.
Exactly.
I don't know what would have been reasonable in her case. Maybe a non-customer facing role.
Exactly. Which is possible. Maybe just not in that store.
Can I say something toxic?
Go on.
Why does she... Is she security? Why does It's bad. I know it's really bad, but... Is she security?
Is she security?
Why is she going to go... Are you supposed to do that?
No.
Because I'm thinking, like, back then, like, in certain stores, sometimes you get told to put your mask on or whatever, but when I usually see people doing that, there would usually be security or signage. Yeah. And also, obviously, you don't know if people are exempt. Why are you going to pass you? I know, obviously, she had anxiety around COVID in general, so maybe she's like, oh, you're spreading it or whatever. You could be spreading it, but... I'm so sure they wouldn't be asking. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they didn't train Marks and Spencer people to go and tell customers to put on their mask, because you don't know what anybody's situation is.
That also leads me to... I missed that one bit. She also said that they never trained her on how to deal with crime. That was her words, crime. So, yeah, she basically said, Marks and Spencer has not trained me on how to deal with
And that's surprising.
aggressive people, which is very surprising. I haven't worked in retail for a very, very long time. However, when I was working in retail, we definitely had training on...
Same here.
Yeah, on how to deal with customers that, you know, can get aggressive or get a bit angry.
And I'm pretty sure it's always the same. Don't engage with them, call security.
Yes, exactly. And also customers who like steal and stuff, don't chase them.
You don't approach them, you don't do it.
Just let them do it.
Even more time security guards ain't even that bothered.
Exactly. So I don't know, me personally would not go and put myself in that situation.
Especially if you have anxiety about COVID, why are you going to approach unmasked people?
Yeah, but I think that's the double-edged sword, isn't it? Because she's so pressed about it and because she has her anxieties about it, I think she felt so strong and passionate about telling this person to wear their mask.
I'm not gonna lie. It's sad that obviously she suffered from anxiety, depression, but her behaviour is giving Karen small
Karen.
Giving Karen.
I hope it.
Because it's not your responsibility to go and do that.
It's not.
Even just for your own safety.
See, this is the thing. Yeah, like especially when I was working in retail, but I guess everyone is in retail for different things. When I was in retail, I was a student, so it was like, I'm just doing this to get a bit of extra money, right? So I would never put myself in a position that's gonna cause some sort of harm. Like, I will let you, if you want to steal, be on your way.
It's not my dad's shop.
Go ahead and take what you need to take.
I might tell security if I can without getting, without. I don't want to tell security, make it a bait, then they start getting angry at me. Like, I have to prioritize my own safety.
Yeah, and I feel like everybody should.
That's what they tell you to do.
Yeah, that is the training that they give you, but she says she never had it.
That's reminds me of that story. Do you remember I told that story about the man who sued his employer because he fell off a ladder, and then he said that they never taught him how to use the ladder.
Yeah.
It's given the same, like, you didn't teach me how to
it's
manage
true,
my own safety.
And you know what, when I first heard that story, I was like, no, he's actually just, he's taken the mick, basically. But in terms of the law and legalities around it, his employer should tell him how to climb a ladder.
To do manual handling training.
Yeah.
It's the same reason when they teach you how to carry a box.
Exactly.
Because they don't want you to pull your back and say that no one taught you how to carry the box.
Exactly. No, but it's literally that simple, because when someone does and they pull a muscle and they're out of work for 6 months, they're going to say, but we told you how to carry the box. So,
man, I want to know how much money she gets. Maybe we try and do an update if it gets public.
Yeah, we'll see. I want to know how much she gets as well. And also the 25% reduction as well. I wonder how she feels about that.
If anything, it will. Like, I think it's fair in terms of like, she's really getting money because of how they dealt with it, not the fact that she shouldn't have been dismissed.
Yeah. And just to go back to what you said, I guess from the HR element, it's just important that people are making sure that they're following processes properly. I'm a bit surprised that somewhere like M&S, they must have multiple cases, like high volume of cases, and they're not really following
I'm really
processes properly.
It must be. I don't understand how some of these companies are not embarrassed, because like, even for you to get to tribunal, it means that you refuse to settle or she refused to settle.
Yeah, well, she appealed and lost the appeal, which means they didn't even take that seriously. And then also, it wasn't until she was sacked that they actually told her the outcome of the investigation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
that's what I'm saying. There's too many. Listen,
imagine getting
I really
sacked
feel like we need to reach out to some of these companies. Like, when we do, we should, as part of the podcast, we should have a service where we debrief the case and then we reach out to them with some advice and some consulting work around how to be better.
I support you.
You support me?
Yeah.
In doing the work.
You got the time.
There was another story which I found kind of funny. So it's an Australian case. So obviously it's in Australian law, but Australian law, because of the Commonwealth and all that, is pretty similar to the UK when it comes to employment law. But the flight attendant for Virgin Australia, and she was essentially fired because of a number of things. But she had been off on, I think, some sort of long-term sick related to COVID, sickness absence. She had come back, and so basically, because it's aircraft and it's like it's like dangerous and stuff. They basically told her she had to come back and as part of what they call a supernumerary crew. So that's basically like additional people in excess to what you need to legally run the plane. So let's say you need 10 flight attendants on board. You might be number 11 or number 12.
Okay.
So you're basically, it's like a training shift to get you back into, and you have to like watch what everyone does. Yeah, to get you back into the swing of things, just to make sure that you're safe to fly again.
Yeah.
So she was working at Virgin, and they made allegations against her that when she came back to do her supernumerary, she stole 4 packets of food that were meant to be given out during the flight. Yeah, and then she put them in her crew bag. And she'd worked there for 14 years at this point, right?
That's a long time.
It's a long time,
flight
yeah.
attendant, right?
It's a long time. And so she'd worked there for 14 years. And then, so they said that she stole these packets of food. I don't know what kind of food it was. I'm hoping it was crisp, because who's stealing plain food? Like, yuck.
The thing is, it could have been plain food, because that's still in packets, isn't it?
Disgusting. Especially Virgin. Virgin, they always do too much. Like, when I go to Nigeria, you find Virgin, they always try to give you jollof rice. I will never forget their jollof. They always just do too much. Just give me your chicken and rice or whatever.
Honestly.
So yeah, allegedly she stole some packets of food. They also said that she sat in one of the back rows and watched a film on her iPad. And then she fell asleep during the flight. So basically she wasn't working it.
Yeah.
And then when it came time to, land, she refused to sit in one of the crew seats. She said she wanted to sit in the passenger seat. So I think I'm getting the vibe that she was kind of like, I've been doing this for 14 years. Why are you making me do this training shift? Yeah. So anyway, all of these allegations happened over the course of a month, and basically it went to HR, and then she was fired. And she appealed and took it to ended up going to tribunal, and the judge said that she should have her job back, because although she did, she didn't move the way she should have been moving, and she should have just been compliant. They said it's a bit harsh to make her lose her job. She's been there for 14 years. There was I gather that there was no actual evidence that she did these things, because when they said, how do you know that she stole the food and did not just consume it on the flight? What they said was, oh, no one could eat that much on the flight.
How do they know? Exactly. How do you know?
You don't know my stomach. That's what they said is, oh, well, she couldn't have possibly eaten it all on the flight. I'll be like,
how do they know?
Like Usher. Watch this. Watch this.
No, for real.
You don't know what I could eat.
It's true.
So they actually didn't have any evidence that she stole anything. And they also accused her of not following the dress code, because she showed up without makeup and without stockings. And she denied it. She said, I was wearing my makeup. I was wearing nude. I had a lip. She said she had a nude lip or something.
Nude lip and mascara.
Yeah, mascara and a bronzer. And she said that's her staple. And she said not only did she, do the makeup she was supposed to, she had her hair straightened and an updo that was in line with their lookbook. They have a lookbook. And she said she also had her nails professionally done. SMS red.
Yeah. She said, I've been that girl. I've been doing it for 14 years.
Your basic bitch dress code.
She said, I've been doing this shit for 14 years, so come for me.
Small girls, please. In my head, I'm seeing Bobrisky. I'm your mummy.
That's literally what she said though. Yeah. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I get her energy. I feel like if I've been working somewhere for 14 years, I get your procedure and your process of telling me to sit on this plane to ease myself back in. But I know it.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So
you should. You know what you should do? You should follow the rules, of course. But I kind of get the energy. Like, if I've been working the same job for 14 years, I take 6 months off, I come back. Don't make me follow someone that just got their wings yesterday.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and also, I feel like it's a bit crazy that, okay, she wore her nude makeup with mascara and a bit of bronzer, and they said she's not wearing makeup.
Yeah, but
it doesn't follow the rules.
That you have a dress code, you have a lookbook which says the hairstyles you're allowed to use, fair enough, or brand, and then you have makeup looks. You want them to wear certain makeup, and even the stockings. I can't lie, it was giving me Velisa at John Lewis. Yeah, wear your stockings.
They made her wear it during the heat
in Australia. Why did you stop
so funny?
But yeah, so basically they ended up saying that they said it was too harsh, and then they gave her job back. And yeah, so she got her job back. But what they said, so she's going to go back to work in August. I can't remember when this all happened. It was like, I think earlier this year. It might have been like February or something. But she's going to get her job back, but they said they're not going to back pay her. They said they haven't ordered to back pay her. They feel like, you know what, she didn't do what she was supposed to do, whatever. So they're not going to do that, but she will be able to go back to work.
So my thing is, would you go back?
I personally, because what in tribunal in general, one of the possible remedies is reinstatement, but no one ever really goes for it because you don't usually want to work with people that have done that to you. When your employees are snitching on you for eating 4 packs of crisps or whatever,
why would you want to go back?
Your makeup, your hair, your stockings, like they hate you.
100%.
They just 100%. They just wanted to get rid of you. Like those people hate you.
Exactly. It's so true.
So I personally probably wouldn't, but I completely get you've worked somewhere for 14 years. This is all you know for the last 14 years. You probably feel that you're good at your job, and especially with the pandemic, like everyone's kind of feeling like job security, that people want to prioritize that more. And when you've been there for 14 years, especially when you've been through this, you'll be feeling like 50 Cent, like they shot you 9 times, you're back, you're invincible.
I hear it.
So I can imagine you've been doing something, it's your career. And then would you want to go and try and especially when you get older, I don't know how old she is actually.
Yeah.
She could have started when she was 20, she could only be like 34, do you know what I mean? Or she could have started when she was 30 and she could be 44 now. And obviously then I feel like the older you get, the harder it is to get those kind of jobs because they really, like, unfortunately there's a lot of age discrimination, especially when it comes to like flight attendants and stuff. It's all about young, pretty, and obviously they don't say that.
There is a look though, isn't there?
Yeah, so I completely understand why she wanted to go back. Maybe I just hope for her that when she goes back, it's like, you've had your fun, it's time to work now.
I get it. I just don't feel like I could, and the reason being is, if I've taken my whole company to court, why do I want to work there?
And
why would I want to work there again?
In the news now.
Yeah. Why would I want to work there? Or unless you just want to be petty and you go get your job and then you resign.
No.
Just for the sake of it.
No, because the thing is, one of the remedies, they've chosen the remedy of reinstatement, but if you don't want to be reinstated or you feel like you can't, you can always say reinstatement is off the table. People do all the time.
Yeah.
So she wanted to be reinstated, or they wouldn't have offered, reinstatement, redeployment.
But maybe she could have also just said money. She wants a payout.
Yeah, she could have.
So she really wants to work there. Yeah,
she must have chosen. And especially Virgin, I follow them on TikTok. They're so cool. But they have a really big brand when it comes to they have a lot of people that they're flight attendants. It's a big thing for them. They've always wanted to be flight attendants, and they talk about we're getting our wings now. We're gonna be in the air. There's a lot of prestige, and some of the people like that, they really love working there.
No, I get it.
Where else are you going to get paid to fly around the world, sleep on planes, eat 3
packets
snacks.
of food?
So I get it. I get not wanting to have to go through that whole process.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I don't think it's easy. Loads of people apply to be flight attendants.
It's not.
It's not easy. And and it was Virgin Australia, so you also need an airline that flies. So it was going to be Virgin Australia. What Qantas is their one, isn't it? Qantas. So there's only so many airlines that are major airlines that have a base in. So even flight attendants here, you got BA, the ones that actually that the base is here. BA, Virgin Atlantic, and that's really it. All the others are based. They come in there. If you come in and out, you're really based out of the UAE or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it.
I get it. I do get it. And being a flight attendant, like you said, it's just one of those jobs where you can't. If you worked in an office, you could be like, fine, I'll just go get another office job. But being a flight attendant is like, okay, it really is just one job, isn't it?
Even the interview process, how do you interview for a job? And there's assessments and stuff like that. You literally could be in the sky. It's not I'll just do it between my meetings. Yeah. It's like a process.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, I get it. But do you know, I sound like, I don't know if you watched Love Island this week, but India, when they were who was it that was
Don't even get me started.
Yeah, right. But she was like, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? Was it Tasha who was asking? Or someone was asking, what do you think I should do? And India and Danica or something, she's like, well, me personally, she's like, I wouldn't, but if you should do what you feel you should do. So that's what it's given here. I wouldn't personally do it, but if you want to go back to the people that hate you, you go ahead.
Yeah, and that's my stance.
Yeah. Everyone do what's best for them.
That's it. Everyone, if that makes you happy, float your boat.
There was one other thing, actually. I don't know how much time we got, but there's one other thing I saw which I thought was quite interesting. I think we discussed it a bit earlier. This guy who he worked at an estate agent and he was a financial consultant. So essentially sort of like a mortgage broker, one of the people that talks to you about money and what your options are when you want to buy a property. And he was dismissed, and he took his tribunal and it was held. So he was dismissed fairly, they said. So basically he, during the time that he was working there, I can't remember how many years he worked there, but during the time he was made bankrupt, or he filed to be bankrupt. And he didn't tell his employer, but his role was in like, he's essentially advising people about money, and he didn't tell his employer. His employer found out. I don't know if it came up in like a rescreen or something, and they dismissed him. And he said that he should have disclosed it. And he's like, well, he didn't think it's not relevant to disclose it.
Yeah. And it wasn't in his contract or something.
He said it wasn't in his contract that he had to do blah, blah, blah. But in most people's contracts, it says subject to like background and reference checks. And
but then
screening.
Is the loophole the fact that he would have already done that prior to joining?
Yeah, but you should have like
rescreening.
Yeah, I'm actually working the client that I'm working with now. One of their things that they're implementing is rescreening after 2 years because they work in financial services.
Okay,
and it's important that with the clients that they work with that everybody is like super clean.
Yeah,
and so they should have a policy in place which basically says that even if you're screened, we can rescreen you at any time.
Yeah,
but he's saying it wasn't in his contract or whatever. And even if you know that you've been subject to a background check before you joined the business or when you joined the business, and anything that was on that background check, if you have common sense, I feel like you know that you should probably disclose.
Yeah.
So like if they ask you, like, do you have any unspent convictions? You say no. Once you get a conviction, in theory, you should be disclosing it to your employer, especially if it's relevant. Like if your job is to drive a lorry and you get points on your license, you're supposed to disclose say that.
It, yeah.
And you know what I mean?
And to be fair, in situations that I've been in, it's a lot more favourable if you just disclose it from the beginning. Yeah. Because I've been in situations where something's come up on the background checks, and because they've disclosed it, it's kind of like, oh well, does it really have that much of a weighting on the role? Cool, okay. It doesn't. And you feel it's like fine. The person
is a trustworthy person.
Exactly. Obviously, there are some things where it's like, unfortunately, even if you've disclosed it, it's just depending on the sector and stuff that you're working in, it just unfortunately can't work. But sometimes it can. Like if you've got if you've got points on your license and the role has nothing to do with driving, why would you?
Exactly.
You probably will still get the role.
It's also about trust, because like, I'm sorry, anyone who works in finance, I used to work in finance. If you work in finance, you know that if you're going to file bankruptcy, you're done out here. We were talking about why that is actually.
Yeah, because I just feel like I do feel like it's a bit harsh if you have been bankrupt before for whatever reason, your fault, you're not. What if you went through like a messy divorce or something, and your wife took half, and now you're bankrupt, and now you can't get a job because of that.
Listen, you still have half left.
Oh, she took all of it. She cleaned you out.
You must have done something bad. You deserve it. No,
and now you're bankrupt, and now you're applying for a job, and it's come up on your DBS, your background check.
Only certain jobs will care if you're bankrupt or not.
Yeah, I'm talking specifically in the finance.
You work in finance,
the finance sector.
If you work in finance, you fight tooth and nail or whatever it is to make sure that you don't, because you know it's going to affect you. Yeah. The same way, even like stuff like CCJs.
Yeah.
If you didn't pay your car finance, like, can you? Do you know
car finance, parking ticket. You're even talking car finance. Yeah. You don't pay your parking ticket. It says CCJ.
Even CCJ is like you. It's mad because actually, what's a parking ticket? You're not paying. Got to do with all of this other kind of stuff.
It has nothing.
It's all about being a law-abiding citizen.
Yeah,
part of it. But with
that trust part, isn't it?
Yeah,
honesty.
With bankruptcy, I just feel like from a brand perspective, I don't know if there are like officially you're not allowed to have certain roles if you're bankrupt. I feel like, I don't know if that's the case, but I know that if I'm going for some mortgage advice or any sort of financial advice, and I know the person who's giving me the financial advice is bankrupt, your advice is worthless to me.
See, you say that, I agree in that sense, but then what about the trading example? I feel like there's loads of people who, like investment bankers or traders or whatever, that deal with other people's money and they manage it very well, but their own personal circumstances might not be the same.
I feel like that's to do with like, yeah, that's true, because you could have, when you work for somebody else, they have a risk profile, and there's certain things that you're allowed to do and you can't do. And when you work for yourself, you do your own
It's
risk
the same
profile.
risk
You might
profile, right?
Yeah. You in theory, but it is what it is.
I feel like it's a bit of an outdated law. I feel like it's probably something to do with tradition and like
I don't really know what it is. Maybe we can find out. But like it's the same, like, you know, if you're gonna be a director in a company, or like they ask you, have you ever been struck off as a director before? Like struck off, like you've been sanctioned, and if you get sanctioned, I think you're not allowed to be a director again for a certain amount of time. So I don't know if it's like if it's to do with a sanction, or if it's just these people don't want bankrupt people giving financial advice.
Which makes sense. It does make sense.
Being declared bankrupt, it's not an easy thing.
Yeah, you were saying.
It's not an easy thing. Like, you have to be in the situation, has to be dire. It's not, I made a few bad decisions. I did a few corners that I shouldn't have done.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Your wife cleans you out in the divorce.
Listen, or your husband.
Or your husband. Yeah.
But if your wife cleaned you out in a divorce and they have allowed her to take everything, you're an infidel. Do you know what I mean? Like, you were unfaithful or something. Like, you, because they don't do stuff like that. You have like 6 kids together and she's going to be the primary. Like, you did something. So I don't even have sympathy in that sort of situation.
Fair enough.
If you work in finance, don't get declared bankrupt. You have to do everything you can do at that point. And he thought he was going to get away with it.
Yeah.
So I didn't think it was relevant to disclose.
Yeah. I think he honestly knew he was just scared to say it, because he just thought my job will be gone. So he just took the risk
and just long it out for as long as possible before they have to rescreen me again.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I guess it just depends on the sector you're trying to work in.
If you're doing anything with kids,
like kids,
and always disclose,
DBS,
obviously. But I always think it's like, I think take a calculated risk. Like, if your employer, if they're doing vetting checks, they will always tell you which checks they're going to do, and they will ask you if there's anything you want to disclose. I just think it's stupid when people don't disclose stuff that is going to come up. Do you think they're lying? When they tell Experian to go and do your checks, or whoever, what do you think?
Do you know I've done those Experian checks. They literally pursue you. Like, they will go and call Coventry. Like, when I went to Coventry University, they would ask to make sure that you went to Coventry University. Yeah. Like, they are relentless. Yeah. You can't get away from them.
People, I cannot get away from people, them. Who have put something on their CV which is a lie from like 6 years ago. Yeah. Something that is like, you've now got 5 years worth of real work experience, but you still have this thing. You still put the lie on CV, and it's the lie that will get you caught out. Yeah, do you get what I mean? Like, do it. If you're doing pre-employment checks, just be honest. Like, make sure everything you give to them is exactly what it is supposed to be. If you change your job title or something, let's say you were a HR advisor and you put yourself down as a HR manager because you're doing more HR manager work, I feel like just put it in brackets. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Or something like that. But just don't lie, because you will get caught.
Like, when they say a background check, it literally is a background check, and depending on the platforms that some of these companies are using, there's no escaping.
We had a guy who in one of my previous places, in his background check, it came up that he had CCJ for unpaid car finance, and I just felt like it wasn't relevant to the role, so it was fine. But I was just embarrassed for him. I'm like, you took up, and it literally, when you get the report back, it says literally how much you didn't pay and everything. Like,
I don't think people understand what the employer sees. It's really detailed, the background checks that come back, because sorry, go on, finish.
No. It was like literally £6,000 outstanding on your car finance, and then you have to send your bank statements as well, and like sometimes we get to see the bank statements depending on if you get a third party, they usually just get it directly, or sometimes the third party asks for it and then we have to chase if you don't provide it. So I've seen like employees' bank statements who have got like £6,000 of CCJ, but I see your £200 Deliveroo. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's not for me to judge.
Of course, yeah, of course not.
Like, at the same time, bro, pay your car finance.
I didn't have a car finance guy, but I had a guy that just didn't pay his parking ticket, and it escalated to a CCJ, and I'm just like, there's no point. Like, okay, I get you don't want to pay a car parking ticket, but then after number one, they give you like half price if you pay it within 30 days. Cool, you missed that one. Then they give you like X amount to pay after the normal price. Then it's like we're still chasing you.
£200.
Then it doubles but by the time like the second or third letter comes in, I'm done. Like, just take it and be gone.
You know, that's really sad because you could not pay a parking ticket and get a CCJ, which will not allow you to get a finance job.
No, but this is, I mean, he didn't get the job, not because of that. Actually, they kind of would have allowed him on that, but what then happened was they pulled out some tweets that he had said like 3 or 4 years ago, and they were like homophobic tweets, racist tweets. It was mad. I'm not gonna lie. So be careful what you put on Twitter, guys, because companies do that background check.
When they do once they do the open source or whatever it is, they do these open whatever checks, and they will find any account that you have associated with that email address. So if you not that I want to help you guys to circumvent
this is just some game for you, isn't it?
This is some game for you. When you're applying for jobs, have a separate email address which you use to apply for jobs. If you want to, have a separate email address, because they will use your email address to find all your social media accounts. And then they'll look at those social media accounts. They'll scan them they look for specific words. That includes the N word, which you guys shouldn't be using anyway. Includes anything that's like homophobic. Anything, all of these things. Not that if you guys are saying these things, I hope you get caught anyway, to be honest. But you know, even if you're black and you use the N word, it's a problem. It's gonna come up, and then they're gonna have to make that decision. So you might think, oh yeah, but it's not. It might not even be said in a racist context because you think it's cool because you're one of them people. But it's still a problem. Exactly.
And let me also tell you how detailed it is. When I was going through it, it was like 4 pages of tweets in chronological order of what was said. You can even click on it to see the thread in the Twitter link. Like, it's very, very detailed. I can't even remember what company they used, but it's very detailed. It looked for Facebook, it looked for Instagram. It was very detailed. So just to let you know, and
imagine how embarrassed you. Who had to call him and tell him?
Me. And he even said, "Can I see it?" He was just like, I want to see what you see, basically. I was
look up your own tweets, mate.
I just sent him. I sent him the main ones.
What did he say? Oh,
he didn't even say nothing. He even went to his agent, back to the agency. They called me and said, "Oh, if I knew you was doing a CRB check on him, then then maybe I wouldn't have told him to apply for the role." And I was like, "Yeah, okay. What? Now you're X'd off the list. We're not working with you either." Because
so he
basically was implying like, "Oh, if I knew you guys were literally digging up like the skeletons out of his closet." I'm like, "It's a background check though."
So he's gonna happen. I wouldn't have worked with you guys.
He's basically saying like, you guys are digging too deep, and it's not that deep. And number one, I'm not digging anywhere. That's just the provider that we use, and that's what was found. I didn't go out of my way to look through this guy's Twitter, but he should also be aware. Sorry,
that same person will be sitting there in the D&I committee. Babe.
you know, exactly. And then he tried. You know what? It's a story for another day. I just can't.
No, it's so funny, but yeah, that's how it goes. So I think that's our time. That's our time now.
Yeah, cool. It's a bit quiet without Velisa.
Yeah.
Hopefully we've kind of made up for her not being here today. I keep looking at her seat.
I know. But she'll be back next week. She's coming to talk to us about the latest soft life adventure.
Exactly.
She needs like a cartoon. The soft life adventures of Velisa.
Velisa, yeah, for reals. I definitely watch it. But yeah, I guess we'll do Velisa's bit or prior to that, before that. We still need some bad managers.
Yeah, we got a couple, so thanks if you sent them through. But we want to do an episode just on like stories of like, I mean, we said good and bad managers, but I think bad managers will be more fun. So if you have any like stories of stuff that your managers have said or done that have been particularly like wild, funny, terrible, let us know.
Yes, please.
So you can DM us on Instagram or email us at the email address that's below.
Thank you, and please continue to share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Everything basically. We are more active on TikTok. Lola is like just queen. She's bossing it with TikTok at the moment.
I'm the TikTok social media I'm more
Queen.
social media assistant.
I don't even think you're an assistant at this point.
A coordinator. But you guys are engaging on TikTok as well. I don't even know if it's you guys that listen or just TikTok. You know, TikTok is wild. Getting involved in the conversation. We put a dilemma up. Everyone was responding. That one about
having to integrate with go into socials and stuff outside of working hours.
It was good chat there.
Yeah.
So meet us on TikTok and everywhere else.
Yes, please. And thank you. And in the words of Velisa, that's a wrap.
Bye guys.
Bye.